Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead.
Percent over the next few years, but actually lost 95% of its peak value during the dot-com bubble of 2000, 2001. Throughout this period, though, he had the insight and the foresight to keep going and trying to keep growing, because they branched out at this point. A lot of these things we know, but it included CDs, DVDs, the consumer electronics, video games. Software will become important, office products, and bring it up some more. But at this time, too, and I think because of his investment background, now acquisitions start to take place for Amazon. First one was Audible in 2008. Some people in this room might have used Audible. 2009, Zappos.com for shoes, clothing, and other merchandise. So obviously there goes the tentacle spreading. 2010, Quidsi, owners of Diapers.com, Soap.com, and now it branched into the consumer goods market. Go ahead, bring it up a little, please. I did note in this in the story is that 2005 Prime membership, for some of you, obviously everybody probably but me, my wife does that, started out a free 2-day shipping service, annual fee, but later expanded to include free access of streaming movies, streaming TV, music, audiobooks, free unlimited photo storage, free ebook rentals, and it goes on and on. 2015 introduced the online shopping holiday, and this becomes the key moment in Amazon's history, because Amazon reported their third annual Prime Day in 2017 was the biggest day in its history, with sales surpassing 2016 Black Friday sales. It pushed the Prime membership at that point in 2017. 50% of all households had Prime. Worldwide, total e-commerce retail sales were expected to double from $1.8 trillion in 2016 to $4.5 trillion in 2021. The Kindle came out in 2007. It was the first device developed by this company. Fundamentally changed the way people read books, newspapers, and magazines. Then they tried to go into different in-house development of some of these I didn't know because I live under a rock sometimes. Fire tablets, Fire TV, streaming media players, Echo smart speakers, and everybody knows Alexa at this point. Stop there for a second. Then you have the genesis of the cloud infrastructure services starting. Okay. And again, in 2016, their sales had grown to $25 billion at that point, expected to grow to $63 billion over the next 5 years by the time they make it to 2021 in that particular service. But at this point, too, people are starting, I guess, to recognize about Amazon Web Services, and more established companies now decide, Juniper, Intuit, Netflix, and they decided to now use their private data services, so now exponentially growing cash flow. 2014, the Fire Phone. These are devices now that failed for Amazon. Fire Phone failed, which was a major flop. Other examples were Amazon Destinations, a hotel booking site, WebPay, peer-to-peer payment service, Amazon Auctions, and then an auction line for premium diapers. Bezos, however, who engraved a tolerance for failure in the Amazon culture, which I think is quite ironic because we talk about fail often, fail fast, right?
We talk about it, we don't really believe it, though.
Correct. So, because his belief of failed experiments are necessary evil to create successful inventions. Let's see. This is the first exhibit, some of the numbers that my other esteemed colleague over here, Hani, is writing up. And we'll talk about the numbers in a second. Shareholders nearly had a 64,000% return on the 20th anniversary of the IPO. Market capitalization, $458 billion. Bring it up. Slow down. Okay, go ahead. So cumulative net was $4.9 billion, with 60% of that $4.9 billion coming from the 2015-16, the Amazon Prime Day. So the financials in here too, just so you know, because I had to look this up because I'm still learning all the language and nomenclature for myself. This is based on non-GAAP accounting. So GAAP, non-GAAP. This is a non-GAAP accounting that we're using. But I want to just reiterate once that he talked about the fundamental fundamental measure being for the long term, not the short term always. Bring it up. Keep going. Yep. Slow it down. Now, ironically, at this point, bring it up, and this is an interesting point. This is someone from Barron's. If you bring it down, I think his name is in there. This thing you might know him. No, it's not. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, ironically, they're saying that Amazon now has convinced the investing public the unimportance of profits in earnings, and they're on the verge of soaring, literally stratospherically. Okay, bring it up. A little more, please. Yep, and you can see that's what it looks like on a graph chart. If you're into graph charts, and you're going to follow the blue line, and obviously millions versus the stock price. Bring it up. Oh, sorry. All right. This is where Haneen's going to kick in with all the numbers. You're going to see how grotesque this became in a good way for them.
Your esteemed colleague.
Yes, from Atlanta, Georgia.
So you noticed on the graph earlier, I think 2013 was the last year that Amazon was not profitable. And once they did finally start turning a profit, their numbers began to skyrocket on the hockey stick. You look here, you got 241 million in gross revenue in 2014, but by 2016, that had grown significantly to 135 billion. So we did an average across 2014, 2015, and 2016, just so you can get an idea of how their strategy of investing in growth by building infrastructure first, from 97 up until, I say, 2017, they spent most of their money on reinvesting into the business, growing the business, acquisitions and such. And that allowed them to put themselves in a position where they had so much of a lead on their market that they really have no competition right now. From AWS, cloud computing, to being a one-stop shop, pretty much everything you ever want to buy. Their average gross revenue now, based off of these years, $81 billion by 2016. Well, based on numbers from 2014. Their net income, $2.726 billion, with an average EBITDA over those 3 years of $1.443 billion, after going 20 years nonprofit. You know, imagine what multiple you would apply to that EBITDA. You want to consider trying to buy it over $1 billion. So that was our basic assessment of numbers. 20 years of investment in growth, not worried about profitability, to turn around and be able to generate massive profits, from that time forward, from 2017 forward.
And if my memory serves me correctly, he got a C on this paper at Princeton. Just as the FedEx guy, we got an F on his paper. But the FedEx paper was a fraud, and which I've told him in YouTube before. And this, well, he's got 20 years of track record to prove that inherently you always invested money for ROI of some sort based on some kind of benchmark. And this was the first time, successfully first. It's not the first time since they started buying fucking stocks, but this is the first time that it actually worked. But he was at the right place at the right time. And he held his nerve. He held his nerve. And he had the kind of stock I tell you about. Major shareholder friendly.
Their stock value that maybe $180 a share right now.
And he built a $680 million yacht that he couldn't get out of the harbor, and they had to get the city in, was it in the Netherlands he bought the yacht? Yeah, in the Netherlands to undo the bridge or rebuild the bridge so he could get it out. Now, a lot of people in the real world, I don't know what happened. A lot of people would have been fired over that. The engineering firm, I mean, you name it, for that to happen, but I don't know what happened. So either I didn't follow it or they didn't make a big deal about it. But
we're done.
how many bought Amazon stock when it first went public? No? Well, they still went public. Nobody. You can't find a white, black, or purple man on the earth that ever bought stock. And I only know 3 or 4 guys that bought Bitfuck when it was in the pennies and the dollars by accident. But these things, because they don't move, and you get rid of them. And so most of the potential capital gains for great companies like this, and for right now, the historical price for Bitcoin, you can't find them because they didn't hold them. Well, I mean, but I got 2 Romanian brothers, twins, that are morons. I hope you're listening, boys. Morons. And they're in the construction business, okay? They bought it 89 cents, and they thought they were getting ripped off.
Mr. Juan would like to go next. It's a local home fire.
Oh, I thought we were going to do the transportation thing.
No.
Ándale pues, let's go.